Welcome to Outrageous Fortunes. I'm Spence, or Resident Moon.
And I'm T, or the Tea Monster, or Twitch Dad, or Padre de Gatos.
I,
And this is a show that we record live on Twitch and YouTube, where I, that's the Tea Monster, am learning the ways of tarot with guidance from Spence, that's them, a 20-year veteran tarot reader.
and during our time together, we turn the cards, read the definitions, and see what patterns reveal themselves. And we might even go down a tangent or two along the way.
So grab your deck, an adult beverage of your choice. Now,
It's
I do say adult beverage, but here's the thing. I'm advanced adult beverage, which means I have just water. I have water with a
it's
splash of orange mango juice in it. And you, Spence?
so it's like 2:30 in the afternoon at this point. We try
Yeah.
to start around 2,
Yeah.
but technical difficulties. So, I don't drink alcohol anymore. So I have nothing that exciting. I just have my sparkling mandarin orange water. Cuz I was away this weekend and didn't make my teas.
Hydration matters, everybody. Hydration matters,
Mhm.
especially in this climate.
Oh my
All right.
goodness. Summertime. So let's all take a deep breath. And let's turn our attention to the cards. I'm
Okay.
Shatner apparently right now.
I'm shocked.
I'm
Why
sure
does
you are.
God need a starship? Okay, what?
Uh Man, it has been a
Off and
week.
running.
It has
It has
been
been a
a
week.
week.
Oh my God, has it been
Uh
a week?
it's been a
I also
great week for
discovered
me,
something.
but
Oh, you and me both. As a matter of fact, I discovered yesterday that
Mhm.
OSI shares an anniversary with NASA.
Oh, that's really
It, w-
cool.
yeah, July 20th, 1969, they put men on the moon. Uh,
Wow.
human beings, human beings landed on a celestial object, the moon, and it's also July 20th that Phil and I went on our very first paranormal investigation to a place called Belgrove Plantation, located just outside of Fredericksburg, run by a lovely lady named Michelle, and she was our first. And here we are, 5 years later, and at the time of this recording, I am taking a library talk that we gave over the weekend, and I am getting it ready for YouTube. And what I mean by that is, in the live stream that we did of the library talk, we would play clips, and that was just played. You watched the clip through the live stream, in the open air sound and all that stuff. So it's not great audio quality, but when we get it put on YouTube, you're going to get the mics that Phil and I were wearing, and you're going to get the actual clip and its native audio directly into the presentation, not broadcast out as it would in the live stream. So that's the difference. And
That's
then we
awesome.
actually recorded a tag at the end where Phil and I talked a little bit more about what we've learned over the past 5 years. Here we go.
Well, happy anniversary.
And what about
That's
you?
it's pretty
What
amazing.
was your
So
what was
I
your
just
last
got
weekend
back.
about?
Oh my god, I got back this past weekend from Spirit Fest in Virginia
Ooh.
Beach.
Oh,
Um
nice. Nice.
I I could not have asked for a better event.
That's great.
I met so many really cool people. I got to hang out with people that I've seen at other events that I've been doing over the last year, and got to go to the beach with some of them. I got a great new profile picture um,
Mhm.
of me in the waves. It is stunning, if I do say so myself. Um,
Okay.
and
Okay, cool.
you
Cool,
know,
cool, cool.
I just I had the most fascinating neighbor next to me who does numerology, and so he was
Okay.
helping me make some connections with different numbers that I was struggling with, and then I was
Hmm.
helping him, see similarities in tarot cards and their number correlation. So, just fascinating, conversations, but neither of us had an empty chair for very long until
Oh, that's good.
Sunday.
That's great. Right.
The last couple of hours Sunday, basically there was nobody there, so the vendors were all shopping at each other's tables. It was fun. Um, and yeah, just really, really magical. I was glad to come home though to sleep in my own bed and be in a not noisy place because the hotel that I had was right next to the highway. Because your envy is broke.
Yeah,
So
no, no, I
I
understand.
I had to take an economic value.
Ergonomic.
No,
Ergonomic?
economic.
Oh,
I
economic. Okay,
budget
okay.
friendly
Budget friendly.
uh uh the hotel. And so I mean, I didn't end up spending too much, which helped with the overhead cost of the weekend.
But that's good.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm very glad to be home, but I'm very glad for the experience and the connections that I made there.
Great.
So,
Good to hear. Good to
yeah.
hear. Good to hear. Yeah, that was the thing was that this so it was kind of a 2 weekends in a row kind of thing that was going on.
Mhm.
It was and I'm going to be straight up with you. My readings were suffering because I was trying to get stuff done and then some other things kind of came into play, but
Mhm.
I found it interesting. Like the previous weekend, there was our investigation of the historic jail in Appomattox, which apparently your housemate Val has
Mhm.
quite the ear to bend about some of the stuff that they've already discovered in
Oh, she
just the live
does.
stream.
She
So, and I know
sure
I've got to get to that.
does.
Yeah, I know I
Uh
got to get to that.
Because
So
here's the thing,
right, right.
there's a point very early on where there's some stuff happening, and we just need to account for where Phil is, because if Phil is not in that area where this stuff happened, there's some interesting things.
It was a very tricky cover, it turns out, because we focused cameras on the cell that I
Mhm.
was in, and then at one point Phil goes into another cell. Now I'm not sure if Phil had a camera on himself when he went into said cell, but
Mhm.
um, I can get a pretty good guesstimation based on where we are in that part of the investigation.
Yeah.
I will say that I think historic jails like the one we were in, similar to Fauquier, they are tricky to film. They're very
Mhm.
tricky to film. But I will again I'm going to try to if I can't make something happen with with Val tonight, late tonight, there's always tomorrow because turns out we're not going to the Odyssey. We're going to wait a week because we couldn't get decent seats in an IMAX. And there's one thing I've learned by keeping tabs on a lovely author friend of mine, Delilah S. Dawson. Delilah was anxious to see the Odyssey, and she got tickets, but they were tickets in the second row of an
Oof.
IMAX film, and I'm like, "Oh, hell no.
Oh, your
That ain't
your
happening."
poor neck. No, thank
Exactly.
you.
Oh, the sound was so intense. It was in her own terms, she was like, "Yeah, I could feel my intestines and vibrating." And you know what? You don't want your intestines vibrating. So anyway, so Friday was the Appomattox investigation, and then the
Mhm.
Saturday after that was let's see, there was a lot of stuff happening that Saturday. There was the first part of our gaming experience of Welcome to Silent Hill, and then right after that we had the premiere of part two of our investigation of Lindville Manor with APS. This past weekend, Friday was my first ever tour of the Lynchburg Ghost Tours, and that's being run through Ghost Stop. And it was my first ever tour, and everybody was really happy with what I did and how I did it, which was great because I was getting all kinds of challenges. We had an air quality warning. We had
Oh,
the air
yeah.
quality warning was on account of the brush fires that were happening in Canada. A 2 month old German Shepherd puppy crashed my event, and a train went by. I mean, there were all kinds of craziness, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, Phil and I went up to Manassas and we did our presentation. And right after that, we went straight from the presentation to Mythic Hall and we did our wrap up of Welcome to Silent Hill. And I'm happy to say that not only did all of us survive, but so did Grandpa apparently. And we got the happy ending of all things. We got the happy ending from
That's
the Silent Hill campaign.
awesome.
Yeah. It was crazy, but at one point, I gotta say, at one point, I'm not just gonna leave it up to your imagination. It was still Silent Hill, but it was Silent Hill if Sam Raimi directed it,
Oh my
and I'm just gonna
goodness.
leave it at that. The I had one moment where I could have said as my character, "Hail of the King, baby," but I didn't, and I
Mhm.
regret that. But apart from that, it was great, and I thought it was appropriate that the Monday after all of this 2 back-to-back jam-packed weekends, I got the 8 of Pentacles as my daily read on Monday, which, it interprets as this: a shadowy figure, diligently builds a clock symbolizing dedication, craftsmanship, and the pursuit of mastery. The 8
Oh,
of
that's
Pentacles
right.
represents hard work and the commitment to improving your skills and knowledge. This card encourages you to focus on your craft, putting in the necessary effort to achieve excellence and long-term success.
Hmm.
I thought that was extremely appropriate.
I think so
That
too.
being said, that being said, today's reading, all right, is, and we are using we're using this week the Wonderland deck, the Wonderland
Excellent.
tarot deck. All right, and it is the Mage, but it's reversed.
Interesting. So I
Okay.
do want to say that your old friend, the Six of Swords, showed up for me today. Um,
Six of Swords. I do love the Six of Swords.
yeah. All right. So the mage, I'm assuming that's the magician. Is that number one in
Yes.
your hierarchana? Okay.
Um, in this arcana, it is number two. The Fool is number one, and the
So
Mage is number two.
the way that traditional decks would go is the fool is 0 and then the
Okay.
magician is 1.
Then
So,
it's the Mage Magician. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
number one.
Okay.
Okay, so the Mage reversed means manipulation, wasted potential, illusion. I don't like the sound of that. Element is air. The astrology is Mercury. Okay. The White Rabbit's shadow, elusive yet ever present, represents the mage's ability to manifest and wield power. Reversed, it becomes a master of illusion. The White Rabbit's shadow, once a force of creation, now tricks the eye, using deception and misdirection. Beware of manipulation and false promises. What seems real may be nothing more than a shadow.
And then from the Crow Tarot by M.J. Cullinane. Sometimes, however, the crow is an imposter, a trickster. Reversed, the magician crow uses the connected power of the spiritual realm for greedy purposes. The magician is in a position that made to note you have fallen prey or have become another gullible victim. Take the time to look inward and ask if your motives are pure of heart. Now, I want to look quickly at the symbols on the card. So for me, I have a crow that's holding a wand, and then underneath it there is a sword that has the pentacles and the cup balanced on either end. Um, and then it has several white roses and several red roses underneath.
Okay. So the mage reversed. Now the imagery that's in my cards, is obviously, as you can tell, Wonderland Shadow Tarot. It's very dark imagery from Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. So it was explained in the guidebook what it is we're looking at here. Um, I have a lot of clocks in front of me and scattered teacups, but yeah, that is but according to the shadow of the rabbit, it's an illusion. So I
Mm.
have to figure out what that means there. For me, this is my daily read, by the way.
Hmm.
Um,
Um,
okay.
ultimately, when the magician comes up, the big thing is that words have power. So the reversed magician is saying that those words have either ill intent or are not are being said for selfish purposes, as opposed to for the greater good of all the people involved.
Mhm.
So it's just asking you to, one, be aware of how you are speaking to other people, and be
Right.
aware if anybody's talking to you and you get the gut feeling that they're in it for themselves and not for
Right.
a team building thing, because you've had recently a lot of Three of Pentacles reversed, which is like too many cooks in kitchen, or people who are not doing team building well.
Right. Right.
So the Magician reversed leans into that a little bit as well.
I think I have a feeling of what this might be pertaining to, the daily read, because I did get a slight info dump of a private post, and I won't go into the details, but it was someone taking me to task, and it's something that I don't know why, but of late I have been dwelling. I'm gonna put big quotes around that. Dwelling on it lately because I'm looking back on some past experiences in my life where I really feel like I should have stood up for myself,
Mhm.
uh, both in corporate, both in corporate America as well as in my own life, and I didn't because I didn't want to ruffle feathers. I didn't want to upset anybody,
Mm.
and I don't know if it's that arrogance of age and experience where I go, you know what, f you. You know, there are points where I just feel like I try to be the most, and you know this about me. I try, and it drives Pip nuts. Apparently, she has told me several times over. But I try to be the most accommodating. I try to be the most kind. I try to be the most agreeable person in the room. And sometimes I do that, sacrificing my own, um, sacrificing my own. What's the word I'm looking for?
Dignity.
Not dignity. Things I stand for. I convictions.
There you
That's the word
go.
I'm looking for. I do it at the sacrifice of my own convictions, and and that that is never good.
Mm.
That is never good to do. Close to PC, not principles. I think convictions is the bigger word that I was looking for. And I'm trying very hard to remember that.
Yeah.
You know, to say, you know, now I'm not going to dismiss if I say something or do something that upsets another person. I'm not going to do that passive aggressive thing where I've
Mhm.
seen people say something like, "I'm sorry you feel that way." That's some BS.
Mhm.
That's some BS. I will try to say something a little more supportive, like I would say, "I'm sorry that I upset you." Because I am. I'm not sorry necessarily for what I said, but I'm sorry that my words upset you. I think that is a more direct way of and an easier way to protect myself than to turn it into one of those passive aggressives. I'm sorry you feel that way. You can tell the difference between the two, right? And I have to learn to protect myself as well as protect my own convictions. Um and if people think I'm a jerk for being like that, I'm like, look, I it's that is not my intent. But my experience and my own convictions, they have weight too. They have worth. And for you to come across and say to me, you know, um, my, you know, I'm upset by what you think and what you said and what you feel. And I'm like, okay, you know, is it, and it's not necessarily, it's not the issue at hand. If it were something really bad, like, you know, if I mean, just going, yeah, we're gonna go for the full extreme. What if I said something completely and utterly racist? Okay, that is a conviction, and that would not be a good conviction to do. This was just an opinion on, uh, this was just a harmless opinion, and the person that's bringing me to task about it, I understand where they're coming from, and I'm like, I didn't look at it from that point of view, and I am sorry that I offended them. That being said, I'm not taking the reel down, and I'm not necessarily changing my opinion on it. I feel like what was said was just odd, and I've never had I've never had tolerance for people that come in and they're throwing their weight around. You know what I mean? I know I'm dancing around this, and I apologize, everybody, but I feel like that's what that's pertaining to. It's a
Yeah.
discussion I may be having later on this evening.
Yeah.
Did
All
any
right.
of that make sense? Did
It
any of that
did.
make sense, or are you gonna be sitting there going, "Okay, I have to edit a lot of that out."
So it is a lot, and we try to be as personal as we can on this
Mhm,
podcast, but at the same time,
mhm.
there are some things that we are going to keep private because they're not meant for media consumption. Now, granted, I still don't have the numbers for anybody to worry about that. So, but still,
No, 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 no.
it is
The
always the
yeah.
prerogative of the host to share what they feel comfortable with and only what they feel comfortable with. Um,
If
so yeah.
if social media has taught me anything, numbers are irrelevant. And what I mean by that is, yes, I would always love to have more numbers, but what I mean by numbers are irrelevant, you could say something really ridiculous and think, oh, I don't have the numbers, I don't have to worry about that ticking anybody off. It takes one person to start sharing that, and then somebody else shares it. Next thing you know, you're going viral, and it could be something completely innocent. So yeah, um, I always try to be very self-conscious about what I'm saying. At one time, yes, I'll be the first one to say I love throwing caution in the wind and saying really ridiculous stuff, even when I was under the moniker of Twitch Dad. And and then Steve Saylor and I had a very long conversation about that. And I said, "Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right."
Mhm.
Mm. Because keep in mind, Steve said the same thing. I remember one time he said, "I don't have the numbers to worry about that." And then one day I happened to be online with him, and he said, "I recorded something. The I recorded my reaction to The Last of Us Part 2." And I said, "You gonna post it?" And he said, "I don't know. It's kind of emotional. It might be too close to the." And I said, "Dude, go for it. What's the worst that could happen? It's an honest reaction. Go for it." And the following week, he was on CNN. So, all right. So what are we
uh,
doing next here? What are we
so
doing next here,
next,
Spence?
what we're doing is we are going to go ahead. Well, do you want to do a 4 card read, or do you want to try
Yes. Oh,
some of the other things that we've talked about? I see that you have
hmm.
your 4 cards pulled out. So,
Yeah,
um
but if I need to add another 2 or 3 cards to this, I'm game. I'm willing to try something new. I know the order I put them out, so I could put them back in, or I could just reshuffle them. This is partially your your ship to steer as well. So you tell me, do you want me to learn something new? Because I mean,
cuz we
I know
started
this style of read.
we started looking at different spreads
You
last
did.
week.
You did.
Um so what are you looking for this week?
Hmm. That's a deep question, believe it or not. That's a pretty deep question. I haven't even thought about what am I looking for.
It's something I've had to ask a lot of people over this past weekend, uh,
Yeah,
and while you think on that, I will say that um I'm going to get into my tangent for a minute while you decide what
you
you
go,
want.
go.
So this weekend, I only had one person who was really upset with me
Oh
for my
dear.
reading because she wanted a definitive answer because of her business. She wanted to know how to move forward with her business. And the reading was asking her more questions than giving her answers because it's like
Oh,
you need to have a support system, you need to have this, and she's like, no, 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 I don't have any of that. I don't want to think about why I'm doing it, I just need to know what to do. And I said, "Well, that's not the kind of reader that I am." So, like, I didn't make her pay, even though she spent 25 minutes with me. I'm just like, "You know
That
what?
sucks. I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Because she looked like she was about to tear my eyes out."
Wow.
So, I was like, "Okay." And then
Okay.
and
Stranger
then
danger, stranger danger.
similar to an event that I had been on, where I did have another reader next to me, and I had some skeptic sit with me and was saying no, no, no to my reading, then went to the next reader over and got a very similar message, and she was like, no, no, no. So this is somebody who very much like had a different expectation.
Yeah. Yeah.
She wanted somebody who was going to be just like tell her what to do, but uh,
Well, yeah.
that's never the way these things go.
Well, I don't want to necessarily do that.
Yeah,
Um,
but it will
so,
make you think.
yeah, well, I'm sure it'll make you think. I think if anything, I'd like an opinion
Okay.
on, hmm, not so I don't want to necessarily even think about the screening I'm doing tomorrow because it's a screening, so I'm not worried about that. But I'd love to know because it is the fifth anniversary of OSI. I'd love to know am I doing the right thing by doing this stuff? You know, am I on the right direction for um for not necessarily just OSI, but just for success at this at paranormal investigation. I think that might be a good way to sort try
So
something new.
we can still use the four card reading for that. However, we're going to change the meaning of the last card.
Okay.
Instead of it being a potential outcome, it would be a goal to reach for.
All right. Well, is there a different do you think there's a different style or a different kind of reading that you would recommend
So
reading?
if you were sitting at my table and you're just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I need some advice real quick to figure out um to figure out what, like an either or kind of thing, it would only be
Mhm.
two cards that you'd be pulling.
Mhm.
And the first card would be the current energy that's around you, and then the advice of how to navigate the situation.
Okay.
So that would be an either or kind, that would be a uh one of the ones that I would recommend that's very easy to do. Um there's let's see.
Well, so what would change with the four card spread with this specific question?
So we would still have the situation at hand, which you've already requested that it be about moving forward in OSI. The second would be the current challenges that you're facing.
Right. Right.
The third would be any advice or opportunities to look for. And I think
Okay.
opportunities would probably be more apropos. And
Yeah.
then instead of the potential outcome for the fourth one, it would be goals to reach for.
Well, let's try that. Let's try that.
Okay. All
Yeah, I'm
right.
game with that.
All right.
Yes, bye. I
Hello,
know,
my
Vi.
love. Oh, Vi, I miss you.
I swear that I found some of the coolest and apparently Matt Dinnerman actually got some of it. But there is a place that's doing hockey jerseys with Princess Di on
Fun.
it. And
Yes.
and in all letters I said I might get this one, baby. And it just says this is an outrage. Anyway. All right. So I've drawn the four cards. So let's see what. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and snooze this particular ad break, everybody, just so that it's snooze for 5 minutes. We'll see how it goes. All right. So this is the situation at hand, correct? With
Mhm.
with OSI,
Yes.
it is the Ten of Pentacles reversed. All right. So I'll read the Ten of
I
Pentacles
was
first.
I was
I
so
just
happy
turned
for a
to it.
second.
I know. All right. So it says here. Ten of Pentacles. Reversed. Oh dear. Bankruptcy. Blood money. Fleeting success. A
Yeah.
flourishing tree with clocks growing abundantly from its branches symbolizes the culmination of prosperity, stability, and legacy. Reversed, the clocks begin to fall, hinting at potential instability or the erosion of what was built. The reversed Ten of Pentacles warns against taking your success for granted or neglecting the foundations that have brought you to this point, urging you to reinforce your legacy and protect what you created.
And then for the Crow Tarot, whereas the Ten of Pentacles upright is a clear sign of financial security, is in your grasp. Reversed, this card may indicate a significant financial loss. It may also reveal a relationship that is just a passing fancy, however enjoyable
Hmm,
at the moment.
man. Well, we've had discussions both online and offline about things that could be better. I mean, that's something, but Phil and I have done that. We've talked about moving forward.
Yeah.
And where it's tough is it's more about the financial issue because
Yeah.
these places are not cheap to investigate. Not by any stretch of the
Mhm.
imagination. All right. Okay. Well, that's a dark start, but let's see what the next one. And this is the obstacle.
Yeah. Or the
Okay.
challenges.
See, I would have if this had been the challenges, that would have made sense. But this being the
Mhm.
situation at hand, that kind of makes me hold my breath a bit. But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the current obstacles or challenges. Man, I'm really not enjoying this read. Three of Cups reversed.
Okay. Now you've
Reversed.
gotten this before.
Reversed though. I don't know if I've gotten it reversed. Maybe I have. Three of Cups reversed. Solitary gossip, needing time alone. Three filled teacups stand together. Oh, now I have gotten Three of Cups before. I'm just don't know. I'm trying to remember if I've
Yeah.
gotten it in reverse. Um. Okay. Uh. Three filled teacups stand together, overflowing with spirit of celebration and camaraderie. I have gotten this. The Three of Cups represents joyous gatherings and the bonds of friendship that bring happiness into our lives. Reversed, the celebration may feel forced, or there could be an underlying tension within the group. This card suggests overindulgence or the potential for strained relationships, advising caution in social interactions. Oof.
And then
Mm.
for the Crow Tarot, reverse, the Three of Cups may point to a time when you feel as though your voice isn't being heard or you're feeling bullied by a group. Take it as a sign to reconnect with those faithful friends that may have drifted away.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Um, lot-
And this is something that we have talked about somewhat of feeling like you're shouldering a lot of the burden um with the production. And so that is
yeah.
definitely a challenge. Um, and so what can you take away from that? And we have already had discussions offline about how me and Val, in our efforts
Yeah.
to
Yeah. No.
bring astral accessibility, about how we could also help you. So
Yeah. It is one of those things. So we have here a situation that we're dealing with the potential the challenges, and now we get to the advice. Right, get to the advice.
yes.
Another Pentacles card. It's the Page of Pentacles reversed.
Reverse,
Um,
reverse.
reversed.
One thing that I will say, because most of these are reversed for you,
Mhm.
sometimes if that happens to me, I turn them so that The majority are upright. Because sometimes that means that I dealt it with the hand backward, like with the deck backwards.
Oh no, I'm being careful with how I'm dealing and everything. So
Yeah.
I think it's okay. But it's the Page of Pentacles reversed. And I'm trying to tell myself, well, not every time reversed means bad things, but this is just a little anxiety inducing. But here we go. Page of Pentacles reversed, immaturity. It's, oh dear.
Wake up.
Missed
Let's
opportunity.
go.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna forge on ahead. Immaturity, missed opportunity, underachiever. Alice holds a clock with a look of wonder, representing the beginning of a new venture or the expiration of a new opportunity. Reversed, the clock slips from her grasp, indicating a lack of focus or misdirected efforts. The reversed Page of Pentacles warns against scattering your energy or losing sight of your goals, urging you to stay grounded and committed to your path.
And from the Crow Tarot, when reversed, the Page of Pentacles may manifest in the form of a blockage. Take the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position as a warning. It's time to ask yourself if your enthusiasm has waned, or does your desire require more dedication than you are willing to give?
This is pretty heavy after 5 years of OSI. You know what I mean? It's really kind of
Yeah.
heavy to see. And I'm trying not to. Okay, I know we've talked about this
You're trying
before,
not
but
to internalize it.
I'm trying not to. It's not just internalizing it, but it's also saying I'm doomed. You know, saying that it's just a done deal. I'm doomed,
Mhm.
and that I don't think is fair because
No.
because the just because you get a bad reading or you get a dark reading, it does not necessarily. And it's something I love about the guidebook and the overall oeuvre of this particular deck, the Shadowlands Tarot, is that it's saying this isn't telling you this is what's coming. It's saying I'm warning you that this could be coming, and either be mentally ready for it or do something to change it. And I think that's what I like about these cards, is that it's not saying this is your fate. It's saying this could be happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels, this deck feels a little less. I would yeah. In retrospect, I was going to tell you that I feel like this deck is a little more friendly to me versus the Crooked Moon deck, which feels a little more pointed, a little more aggressive. Do you feel like some decks are more aggressive than others?
Oh,
You know,
for sure.
like a little.
I
Yeah.
definitely think the Crooked Moon deck is way more aggressive, and I'm pretty sure that has to do with your with the setting, you know.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. But yeah, this is Wonderland. If anybody's curious, this deck is again the Wonderland Shadow Tarot from a group called Erethereal, and yeah, okay. And here we are. This is the last card of this read, and this is not. So you said now this is going to be what now? This is going to
Your
be a different,
goals,
the goal.
the goals.
Okay, just roll the shoulders out and just relax. T. Here we go. Oh wow, the one card that is not reversed, and it's the High Priestess.
I like her. I
Well,
like
you'd
her
love
so
this one.
much.
You'd love
It's the
this one.
Cheshire Cat.
It's the Cheshire Cat. The Cheshire Cat. The classic. That's the thing. I never liked the Disney Cheshire Cat, but the one that was but this one and the one that was done in the original artwork, yeah, that was a pretty cool one. Okay, it's the High Priestess, and it's upright. Empress, Emperor, High Priestess. Okay.
And you're gonna like when I start talking about the High Priestess from the Crow, it does mention your daily card in it.
Okay, interesting. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever drawn the High Priestess, but this is pretty cool. Beautiful. All right, High Priestess, upright, higher power, divinity, intuition. Element is water. Astrology is moon. The Cheshire Cat, with his knowing grin and ability to appear from the shadows, embodies the High Priestess' divine consciousness. He guards the mysteries of the unseen, urging you to trust your intuition and tap into higher knowledge. Follow his guidance, for the cat sees beyond the veil of reality. That's it.
And from the Crow Tarot, the High Priestess takes the spark created by the magician and transforms the idea into a tangible reality. Like a shadow passing in the night, her energy is present and can be felt in the gut, but not always seen. Her intuitive power lies in the spiritual unconscious, allowing the high priestess to soar back and forth through the veil, bringing with her divine knowledge. Perched on the moon and surrounded by the four suits, your connection with the high priestess is active at this time and should be utilized. She comes ready to deliver the answers you seek through dreams and symbols. Pay attention, she is with you.
Hmm.
Now, that triggers something for me. I don't know what it triggers in you.
Well, yeah, it says trust your intuition. Um, and my intuition when it comes to the challenges that I've faced with Phil, and faced with OSI on a whole is, is to just keep pushing forward. Um, it's been very odd. That's the only way I can describe it. It's been odd because I feel like I have accomplished a lot in 5 years.
Mm,
And I hear it in Phil's tone. He feels it too. He feels like we have accomplished a lot in 5 years. And it's more about, um, you know, there was a point where I thought things were so rock bottom. Um, we weren't gonna make it. And Pip took me aside and said, if it comes to that, you and I can keep going. And that really took me by surprise because this is something that Phil and I started, but now Pip is ready to pick up the mantle if she's needed. Um, it's something I've always been really shocked and surprised about because I didn't think Pip had really a lot invested in OSI, but then it turns out that she is just as she has become just as passionate about it as I have. Um, so so the intuition is, we can push forward. I would rather do it with Phil at my side because this he got me into this.
mm,
And I get nervous when he talks about, "Oh, I want to start a band. I want to start writing again. I've got to take care of this. I got to," and I'm like, I'd rather have you and it's a discussion we've had before. Um and and it was one of those discussions where I had to ask him, "Are you still committed to this?" And he said, "Absolutely." And I said, "So then why are you doing all these other things? Because you want to try to accomplish, a lot of stuff in your lifetime?" And he said, "Yeah, I want to be able to do all of these things." But my thoughts on it is okay, well then I call it I call it the Brian Singer the Brian Singer conundrum. And what I mean by that is Brian Singer was going to direct X-Men 3, but then he signed on to direct Superman Returns, and he wanted to do both. And he started to do both, and he realized he couldn't. So they got a new director for X-Men 3, and and instead Brian Singer did Superman Returns. But because of that uh, divided attention span, we got a mediocre Superman Returns, and then we got a mediocre X-Men 3.
right.
Now that is my opinion. That is my opinion. But I don't know if anybody sees what I'm seeing there. But I'm like, instead of being pretty good at a lot of different things, I'd rather excel at fewer things. Make sense?
Yeah, being instead of being a jack of all trades, master of none, you want to
Right.
focus your energy, pull
Right.
that eight of pentacles energy
Right.
into one thing, as opposed to that reversed
Right.
knight of swords that you had, or reverse knight of wands that you had, that's like
Mhm.
scattered focus and just like, I want to do all the things.
Right. I
It's
mean, yeah.
it's
I
very
mean, I got nothing to
understandable.
lose. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could get headshots tomorrow and I could start auditioning again if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that if I started auditioning for either local theater or even regional theater, or whatever theater, um, that would change things a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I would become employable straight away. But like for example, I currently have a backstage membership that I have used once.
Mhm.
And my thought, I asked myself, was that just wasting money? Well, first off, one, we got it at a super discount, so I'm not too cut up about it. Second thing about it is I haven't had time.
Yeah.
I haven't had time because I'm editing video. I'm doing all the other stuff. And I know that I could be doing other things. But I'm finding myself focused and committed to what I'm doing with OSI. So I understand where the high priestess is coming from. I totally understand that, and I
Because
think that yeah.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say because you have two people who kind of embody the high priestess who want to step up and help you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
You might have to
So
lean
I know
into the woo a little bit more, but
more, more. Good lord, more,
more, did you say?
more woo, more woo.
More
So does that
woo.
make it woo woo? Does that make it
It-
woo woo?
It's a very woo woo. Very woo
It's woo
woo, my
woo.
dear.
I'm no
Um
longer woo. I'm woo woo.
woo woo.
Now if I go woo
Uh
woo woo, that's gonna be even different.
no, that's when you're no, that I'm gonna we're not putting that in
Are we
the
stopping right there? Are we
We're
stopping
stopping
right there? I think
right
we're stopping.
there. We're
We're
stopping
stopping
right
right
there.
there, everybody.
I do want to
Um,
address Subpar Goat's
yes, I was
question.
about to say.
So they posted question about tarot. Are there decks to avoid that take advantage of the culture? Well, so tarot isn't really a culture per se. It is a divination tool. It's the same as using dowsing rods, pendulums,
Right.
um any kind of method that you're using for a divination purpose. You can use it as seriously or non-seriously as you choose to. A lot of them will say this is for entertainment only. You,
Mm,
the reader, and the person that you are reading to will take it as seriously as it feels. You take whatever resonates with you, you leave the rest at the table. As I said a couple of episodes ago, and what I continue to say to anybody who sits with me for a reading. So it's not really a culture. Now, if you're speaking about fortune tellers of old, the biggest thing with them is that they were usually plying that trade because they didn't have very much else that they were allowed to do due to being ostracized by society. Historically, people of a roving nature were roving because no city would have them because of various persecutions and prejudices. So, um, as long as you are willing to, by the way, T, I can see you scratching your arm there.
yeah, I know,
um
I know, I know.
uh
Yeah. New camera angle. I'm trying it out.
all right, cool, just making sure. So it would only be like an issue with any culture if you were to dress up as a Romani type reader, but not have that kind of ancestry. So like I can do it because that is part of my ancestry. Other people, it's like any other um appropriation of a certain kind of people by dressing up in their costume, if that makes sense. But as far as tarot decks, Gosh, there are so many different decks that are
So many.
they have just about every flavor of deck that you can imagine, and don't even get me started on Oracle decks. I've had several people ask me, well, what do I look for an Oracle deck? How will I know if I found the right one? And I'm like, you gotta look.
Yeah,
You
you got to
you
look
just you gotta
and yeah.
browse.
I mean, that was how I found the Shadowland. Sorry,
Yeah.
Wonderland. The
Hmm.
Wonderland Shadow Tarot. The Wonderland deck, the reason this one resonated so much with me was because I have a real fascination and real love for
Hmm.
the original uh Lewis Carroll Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. More so Through the Looking Glass. And just looking at the samples of art from here, I was like, "Oh, this is definitely Through the Looking Glass." So, I picked it up, loved it. Um but I also knew when I got it and I just had it sitting here before I even opened it up, I said, I don't want this sitting on my desk like a paperweight. I actually want to learn this, and that brought me to Spence, and hey, do you want to do this? The next deck I got after that was the Crooked Moon, and I got that you know seriously based off of my experience doing the Crooked Moon role playing game for from Advantris. And I've seen like um pulp horror pulp horror book cover tarot decks,
Hmm.
pulp sci-fi cover tarot decks, which are pretty cool. um I've seen a labyrinth one. We actually have one here that I'd rather not do because I gave it as a gift to Pip, but it's called the
Yeah.
Starman, and it's basically different images of Bowie, and in it. So you find the theme that works best for you. I don't see myself cultural inappropriately cultural appropriating a deck
Yeah.
because I don't think that would interest. But
So
the trick is finding one that really resonates with you.
Subpart clarified the question. So they
Ah,
shouldn't
that's different. Yeah.
so I shouldn't worry about a company shilling out a deck for profit and put no effort into the deck. Okay. So when you're looking at decks, if you like the look of it, you want to look at who created it. So if you look up like MJ Cullinane, it's going to bring you to US Games systems, and that's where you would be able to order it. Or they would tell you where to buy it from. Anytime you're able to go directly to the source, that's going to be the best bet.
Yeah.
So like with the Shadow Tarot deck, T went to Erethereal and looked at it. And we always plug whoever made it. Um the Crooked Moon, he got directly from Crooked Moon. Now there are a couple things that you can look at where you can see that it's probably a pirated deck. So if they are playing card size, unless it comes directly from the author, it is very likely a pirated deck. Um, so that's one of the things. If it doesn't come with a guidebook, that is a clue.
Oh,
Um,
that's
yeah.
a big red flag. That's a
I
big red flag.
I was gifted two decks that are very likely pirated decks, but they were gifted to me. I didn't spend the money on them, and to be honest, I shuffle better with them because I have tiny little hands. Look at my hands next to my deck. This tiny. So, they if they are official, they would be labeled as a pocket deck.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing that it takes a little extra effort. But if your concern is making sure that the people who created it get the money, the little bit of extra effort will go a long way.
Yeah. And thanks for the question, subpar. It's a great
It's
question. Great
yes,
question.
And if you have questions about any of the readings that we've had, this is going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Second of all, if you have questions that you want to ask, go ahead and put them in the comments. I do check the comments every day. So we will, I will definitely get to you. If you want to be part of the live recording, we record on Tuesdays around 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. So you should definitely come
Barring
on
any
Twitch.
barring any technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties, illness, all that jazz. But if you want to come and hang out with us, check our schedules. The links for our Twitch channels are in the show notes. So please make sure to come and find us and talk in the chat. And if you stay in my chat, you might even get a community reading. And so with that, did you have anything else, T?
Nah, I think I'm ready to wrap it up.
All
So,
righty.
so until next time, thank you everybody for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And until next week, may the cards ever be in your favor.
Bye, everybody.